G'day guys, Jack coming to you with this quick video today. Today we're going to be talking about something that I call the problem solving technique. Now I didn't invent this, I learned this at a property seminar in Brisbane back in around 2015, 2016. And this came about as one of the exercises during the course. And this is something that I used when I was going through an incredibly tough time in my life. And it really got me through some of my darkest hours. So give it some thought as to, well, one, see it for yourself and then see how you can apply it in your own life. So the first thing I want to say is when it comes to the problem solving technique, you have problems in your life, okay? There's things that need to be resolved. And sometimes we go to bed at night and these ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions just wash around in our head. So we can't actually gain clarity, and without clarity we can't actually resolve the problem, or at least have a shot at resolving the problem. So the first thing I would consider is using this technique and hopefully starting to minimize some of those thoughts that go around your head like a washing machine. So if you're sitting at home, if you're able to do this exercise, then I consider giving it a shot. If not, there will be homework for you at the end, so stick around for that. The first thing that you need to do when it comes to solving a problem is realize that everything does have a solution, okay? Yes, some things are more complex than others, but at the end of the day, everything does have a solution, and that's what drives humanity forward. We're always kind of resolving problems and progressing, and at the same time there's some cohorts of people that make new problems. So there's always problems to solve, and the better we become at solving problems, the better we are going to be at life. That's really what is preventing you from being successful, is your ability to solve problems or lack thereof. So let's get started. Firstly, we're going to do a couple of things. So in this case, what we do is we define the problem. So we're going to draw 3 boxes here. So this is one box where we define the problem. The second one is we're going to talk about the worst case scenario. So we've got the worst case scenario that can happen. And I'm going to give you an example in a second. And then thirdly, over here, we have the best case scenario. So when you start with the problem solving technique, you want to draw 3 boxes. And this is to highlight the problem and the 2 potential outcomes that we have. Now, for this particular problem, I'm going to use something that's a little bit fun, and because it can get quite serious depending on how complex your problems are. So let's say I'm in Adelaide, I'm based in Adelaide in Australia, and I want to go to the grand final for the football in Melbourne. So if you're a football fan, this is great. You're like, wow, I want to go to the grand final, this is awesome. Okay, my team's going to be there and it's going to be playing and it's looking really good. I'm going to drive to Melbourne. That's how I'm going to get there. And the problem is that my car's broken down. So that's a bit of a problem, because how am I going to get to Melbourne to watch the grand final and see my team win when my car's broken down? So that's what we're going to define as a problem. So firstly, it's Adelaide to Melbourne is the problem, and it's my car. So I'm just doing shorthand. You can write it out in a bit more detail, and hopefully you can see this. It's not my most ideal setup, but it's a start. We're getting started, right? So Adelaide to Melbourne, and my car's broken down. So what is the worst case scenario? The absolute worst case scenario is, well, I miss out, right? I miss out. I don't go. That's it. And we can add a bit more pain to that. My team wins. So my team wins. My team wins, and I never get to see this opportunity again. So this is the only opportunity in life that I'll ever have to watch my team in the grand final, and I'm going to miss out. So it's the only opportunity. So I'm just putting opportunity there. It's the only opportunity that I have. Now, the best case scenario, the absolute best case scenario is I go and I see my team win. We go, we win, we party. So I'll just put Adelaide Melbourne car and the grand final up here, so we know it's the grand final, it's important. And we go, we win, we party, we have a great time. And then you've got somewhere in between here. So there's somewhere in between. There's like, I go and we lose and we don't party. Or I miss out and we lose. So it doesn't really matter. I didn't miss anything anyway. So you've got a varying spectrum between the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. So what we want to do is, this is our problem and we want to get to here. We want to get to the best case scenario. And this is where you kind of run into trouble with the thoughts washing around your head, because you've got your own problems and just thoughts going around and around your head, and you don't actually clearly define what you're doing. So it can keep you up at night, right? We don't want that. We want to get a good night's sleep. So how are we going to go? So the car's broken down. I can't get to Melbourne. So how am I going to get there? Well, if you're at home, if you're playing along, play along, come up with some of your own ideas. If you're just watching, that's okay, let's get started. Remember, there's going to be homework at the end of this. So what we can do is, well, we start brainstorming. So let's say the first thing we do is like, the car's broken down, it's getting serviced, what can I do? Well, let's ask the dealer if he has a hire car. So let's put hire car down. Hire car at the dealership. Hire car at the dealer, it's very shorthand. So that's one thing we can do. What's something else we can do? We could fly. All right, can we fly to Melbourne? Okay, let's think about it. Can we get another car, like a thrifty? There's no particular order, it's just kind of you're brainstorming around. You're like, can I do this, can I do this? Because you know how the mind works, it's just all over the shop. So, can I get a thrifty, or can I catch the train? All right, what about the train? Okay, train, it's different, right? What about carpooling? Okay, what about, I don't know. How else can we get to Melbourne? Could walk, could run. We could, we're kind of running out of, are we running out of ideas? That's the thing. It's like, what about money financially? Like, is flying too expensive? Because it's too expensive to fly. Is the thrifty, are they out of cars? What about commercial? Can we hire a minivan? What about this? Can we hire a minivan and get a few people and put them in the minivan and then take them to Melbourne? So this is where you start to think a little bit more outside the box. It's like, okay, well, can I get the minivan? Can I charge people a couple $100 and then stick them in the van and cover my costs? So if I've got time to do that, like, is this something I consider? Can I run an ad on Gumtree? Can I run an ad on Gumtree and open up some spots? Because maybe there's other people that want to go to Melbourne. It's not just me, like it's a big event and a lot of people want to go. So what we do is we have to consider as well, like, what's the most cost effective? Like, maybe we don't have the money to fly because flying could be really expensive. And that's why we were going to drive in the first instance. We could think about, if we don't have the money, I mean, what can we do? Can we get a credit card? Can we get a credit card? And can we get any sort of unsecured loans? Like a nimble it and move on. I'm not trying to flush. Look, it's shark money. It's not the best thing, but at least when it's on paper, you think, okay, well, it is an option. Maybe it's not the option I want to go because I don't want to pay for it for the rest of my life, but it is an option. Like, can I actually make this happen? So we've got, like an unsecured loan. Can I get a line of credit on my house? Right? So line of credit. Right? But we're coming up with a lot of ideas here. And these are ideas that we didn't have access to before, but now we're starting to see okay, maybe we can make this work. Maybe I can get an unsecured loan. Maybe I can sort of, so terrible handwriting. Maybe I can, you know, pawn off Aunt Gladys's diamond earrings and then buy them back when I get back. You know, that's unsecured finance. Maybe I can go to Cash Converters, hock it in, and gives me an opportunity to then get to Melbourne. I mean, look, these aren't the greatest ideas, but depends. It depends on how important is this to you. Right? You have to consider that. So that's your own values, your own ethics, your own like whatever it is to you. What's important to you is the right solution, right? So you got to be able to live with yourself. So don't do something that, you know, the priceless heirlooms go just because you want to get there. You might need that stuff. So we can do something else. I mean, let's say the minivan is an idea. Like we can get a commercial minivan and we can open up 3 or 4 spots in the minivan. So we've got this one here, and with the minivan, we can put an ad on Gumtree, sell off some seats because a few people want to go and they want a trip to Melbourne, and then we can actually pay down the debt on hiring the minivan and maybe even recoup some of the cost of the weekend. So we've turned this problem here into an opportunity now. We now have the opportunity to make some benefit out of doing things differently than if we just flew. You know, there's other things you can do. You can borrow. So you can borrow from friends and family. I just need a couple $100. I'll pay you back. And once again, that's another thing. But look, I'm not giving you perfection here. I'm giving you a strategy to just brainstorm ideas and get a little creative on how you can actually resolve this issue. So let's just say, look, you know, the money's not an issue. We'll just go with, we'll hire a car on the way over, and we got some friends and family in Melbourne. Maybe we can stay with them for a few days. Wait till the flights get a bit cheaper, and then we can fly back. So that's our option. We drive over, we'll fly back, and we'll leave the car at another Thrifty Depot, Hertz, Budget, Avis, whatever it is, and we can get back. This is the problem-solving method. This is what I've used several times during my life, and it's got me out of some very, very deep holes, very dark places. And it's just that sort of brainstorming creativity. So every time you have these lists of things that's going to get you to the optimum outcome, and you go through them one by one. So all right, let's hire. No, it doesn't work. So that should be here, this one. So hire, fly maybe is an option. Thrifty's maybe an option. Train, I don't want to sit on the train for 8 hours. Nobody wants to come with me, carpooling. There's no minivans at the commercial. Credit, I'm maxed out on credit, whatever. Like, you just, every time you have an idea, you go and cross it off. So ring up Thrifty, cross it off. Ring up this, cross it off. Do this, do this, do this, and cross them off. And then you start narrowing down what's available to you and what's left. And then you're like, okay, let's double down and go on this. Because the thing is, and this is what I want you to remember, is focus. Focus stands for follow one course until successful. With this, you're actually picking one way of doing things, and you're going to follow that through until you say, okay, this is not viable anymore, and cross it off, and go to the next one, and go to the next one. So this is an introduction to the problem-solving method. Now, your homework is to pick, if you just want to dial it in, pick one problem in your life and just go through the exercise and get better at doing it. Go through the exercise. If you're an overachiever, which you probably are, pick 2 or 3, and go through the problem-solving method and see how it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. You know, go back to doing what you're doing or do something else. But if you give it a go and you find that you're getting results, then you'll think, okay, hopefully you get a bit better night's sleep, and you can actually start to progress through the challenges that you're facing. So one of the things that I will stress to you is this: if we do decide to work further, if you think, well, you know, Jack seems like he knows a little bit about what he's talking about, let's have a chat, let's have a consult in the future. I'm going to ask you, have you done this? Because this is probably going to be one of the first things I ask you. I want to know, like, have you defined your problems, and how have you worked through them? Like, have you done this exercise? Because if you're not willing to do it or not willing to try, I can't do a lot for you. I can't, and it's not that it's right or wrong inherently. It's just, there needs to be some skin in the game effectively. There needs to be a bit of traction. And in you getting in there and attempting this stuff and trying to think a little stronger about the problems you're facing and the situations you're in, you'll start to get the result. And then we can start to go further into other areas and hopefully get some of the results, like we talk about the creating a vision and implementing the processes in order to work towards that vision. So this is Jack coming to you with a problem-solving technique. I trust you're well, and I will hopefully work with you a little more in the near future. Bye for now.